Hello there, my name's Harry the Piano and this is Trinity Rock and Pop. Today we're looking at keyboards, disco style improvisation for grade 5. Now when you're playing disco on the piano, what you're really trying to do is copy what guitarists would do. If you listen to old disco tracks from the 1970s like Earth, Wind and Fire or Chic, or more modern tracks like Bruno Mars or Justin Timberlake, guitars playing in a kind of funky strumming kind of way in quite offbeat patterns, which means you're putting the accents on strange beats. So you've got your 1, 2, 3, 4. So your offbeats would be the quavers in between. So if you imagine dividing a bar into 8 quavers, 1, 3, 5 and 7 would be your strong beats, 2, 4, 6 and 8 would be your offbeats. And if you land chords on those offbeats, you get little funky patterns like this. So what we'll be doing in our left hand, well, we'd have little patterns like this in the bass line. It's also quite nice to walk up with octaves like this. So a mixture of octaves, walking up in semitones and little bass line patterns. If we put that together with our right hand, playing those funky guitar patterns, and maybe a little bit of soloing patterns like this. Put all those elements together, you have something that sounds like this. Okay, so now we're looking at our example, and we have quite a few different chords. We have an A major 7, so our first major 7th chord, quite a few different minor chords. So before you start off on a solo like this, it's a good idea to look through all the different chords and think, which kind of notes can I find that are common to all these chords? And if you look through our E, A major 7, E, C sharp minor, G sharp minor, all these different chords, you kind of get a sense that G sharp is the note that links them all together. So it's the third of the E chord, A major 7, the major 7th of that chord, then we've got C sharp minor, it's the 5th of that chord, G sharp minor, it's the tonic note of that chord. So we kind of have a central note to start off our ideas from, which is G sharp. And when you're improvising something like this, it's a really good idea to find a very simple little pattern, maybe just 1 or 2 notes at the beginning. That's the beginning of your story. And if you're telling a story, when I'm dealing with students, quite often they'll come up with their most flashy phrase first of all, and I say, well, that's great, but if you play your most flashy phrase at the beginning, you haven't really got anywhere to go in the rest of your solo. And when you're telling a story, you really are trying to take a simple idea and then develop it. So the more simple, the better. I mean, if you're telling me a story like, I came out my house this morning and I saw this really good looking person on the opposite side of the street, and then I was at the top of a mountain eating a sandwich, and then I was on an aeroplane, I'm looking at you thinking like, well, hold on, what happened to the good looking person on the other side of the street? The story's got to go in steps. So you take your first idea, maybe as simple as this, and develop it a little bit more. And then try and make that fit over all the chords. And maybe you'll have to change one of the notes when you get to, say, C sharp minor, you might want to go. So simple idea to start. A few triads in your right hand, walking little lines with the octaves in the left hand, and little bass line patterns just with triads sometimes. So let's play through our example, trying to bring all those elements together and remembering that we're starting simply and building up.